One of the main ingredients to any Zelda game is the boss fight. Facing up against that titanic foe is the culmination of an arc in your quest. They're an obstacle that you must vanquish, and once you finally get past the trial in front of you, there's an amazing sense of satisfaction. Yet for every fantastic boss fight, there's an epic mini-boss, another unique enemy there to test your skills. While they might not be as mammoth of a confrontation as a boss fight, sometimes they're the most interesting, challenging, or memorable fight in a game. So, without prolonging this any longer, here are my top 5 Zelda mini-bosses. Amongst my favorite Zelda games is the Oracle pairing, Ages and Seasons. I've talked about them a few times, yet mini-bosses is never a topic that's meandered its way into the discussion. Which is a shame, because these games are full to the brim with some great encounters. Each game has 8 dungeons, and as you might expect, every one of these dungeons has a mini-boss you must vanquish. While some of the fights are easy and or uninteresting, others are both fun and challenging. Come on, buddy, just try and squash me again. Ouch! Alright, nope, not that neat. Get out of here. Initially, I was going to pick the Great Moblin, seeing as he appears in both games and appears outside of the dungeons. However, even though that's interesting, he's never been the most memorable mini-boss in my mind. No, that award would have to go to Vyre. This not-so-friendly bat demon thing also happens to appear in both Ages and Seasons, making his debut in either of the game's 6th dungeon. Turns out he's the henchman to either of the game's main villains, Varin and Onyx, aiming to dispose of you before you can cause their boss any more trouble. While his position within the game sets him apart, playing a slightly more important role within the story, it's his personality that further distinguishes him from his mini-boss brethren. And that's down to something as simple as dialogue. Yes, no joke, this anthropomorphic whatever he is does nothing but taunt you throughout the course of your fight. It feels more like a real confrontation rather than you mercilessly cutting down local wildlife. Vyre is despicably basic in his evilness. He pops in and out of the fight constantly, throwing in jabs and proceeding to scamper away when he gets beaten. It's a little campy and silly when you think about it, but it felt good to momentarily send him crying back to his boss empty-handed. And that's really all there is to this. It's a simple fight, but Ages and Seasons were amongst the first Zelda games I played, and as a result, Vyre stands out compared to plenty of other, arguably better battles. In Twilight Princess, when you go to the Sacred Grove, you run into a Skull Kid who challenges you to a game of hide and seek. It's not as if you have a choice in the matter either. If you want to get to the Master Sword, you have to play along. And I don't know, I get the sneaking suspicion we just might want that. As you come through the woods, he'll periodically send a wave of puppets in your direction. While they might be creepy, at least they're easily defeated. The idea here is to find him and give him a whack or two with your sword so he'll lead you out of the forest. However, if you never find him, you'll be stuck playing hide and seek. Forever. Well, that's a little morbid. My apologies. After you've dealt enough damage and moved past a new area, you'll find the true Sacred Grove. And for all the damage you've dealt and the puppets you've destroyed, he doesn't get angry. He just says bye and scampers away. Even when you return to conquer the Temple of Time, he still wants to play hide and seek, guiding you safely to the grove again in the process. Yet again, he sends endless waves of puppets at you, but again, their threat is negligible. Just like before, you can destroy them in a few seconds and continue on your way. In fact, now that I think about it, both times he never directly attacks you. Maybe he only wishes to have a friend. Oh man, that's a depressing thought. What if he's the only Skull Kid left in the forest? And he's just all alone. This is why he's my favorite mini-boss in Twilight Princess. I mean, sure, the Darknut battle is epic for its challenging and rewarding nature, and Death's Sword has this creepiness that's a bit reminiscent of Gomez from Stone Tower Temple, which I'm admittedly a huge sucker for. But there's this mystery surrounding the Skull Kid that I'm even more drawn towards. While he puts you in some danger with his little games, in the end it was all lighthearted. He was actually helping us out. The fact that he knows Saria's song only lends to the mystery surrounding this little guy. Some say you can still see his lantern in the distance when you return to the grove. The Skull Kid might not appear in a dungeon, but he's always been the one I remembered most. Phantom Ganon is one of my favorite bosses in all of the Zelda games. It's no surprise then that one of my favorite mini-bosses is also Phantom Ganon. Appearing first on your return visit to the Forsaken Fortress, he acts much like the classic encounters we've all come to know. Play some tennis, nail that serve, bam bam, lay the smack down, match point, hooray! While the fights in the Wind Waker are devoid of the dark atmosphere, ghost horse painting funfest, and flashy staff twirling from Ocarina, they have that Wind Waker charm and style that's oh so appealing. The way the darkness cascades off the edges of Phantom Ganon looks fantastic. The light blue etching in with the black of the design is rad, and the fight itself is neat too because of the wonderful way the Wind Waker utilizes sound effects. And that's really all I have to say about Phantom Ganon. It's an exciting fight paired with that wonderful Wind Waker allure. Now, I know Dark Link is sort of obligatory at this point, but come on, he's iconic. While he's not one of the first parts most people think of when you mention Ocarina, I'd still say the fight with him is one of the most memorable in the game, mimicking your every move with red, emotionless eyes piercing the illusory veil of the room. There's just no way you'd forget something like this. Now, it's by no means the best implemented fight in the series. You basically have to cheese your way through the fight with Din's Fire before finishing him off sans Z targeting. But facing off against yourself is a profound challenge. You'd never imagine facing off against your doppelganger, the one person who is in essence your equal. And like the Skull Kid, there's an air of mystery surrounding this room and battle that I'm drawn towards. As a result, this battle will always remain a favorite of mine. Except Dark Link is only number 2. What could possibly hold the number 1 slot? It's not a topic I've really delved into, but Ikana Canyon is my favorite area in Majora's Mask. The palpable atmosphere, complete with ghosts, Skipdos, and the Garo, makes for a fitting final test to your quest. While its temple, the Stone Tower, is almost at the top of my favorite dungeons in the entire series, its mini-bosses don't quite make the mark here. No, my favorite mini-boss sits in a dilapidated castle at the base of said tower. Emerging from the depths of another not-so-friendly underground network of death and other various bad things, the splendor of a once ancient kingdom beckons you forth. With a wonderful haunting tune at your back, you enter the recesses of this ancient citadel only to discover an increasing amount of undead. After much toil and trouble, the light opens the way to the throne room where an evil menace has been sitting on his chair, cynically waiting for a challenger to oppose him. It's the king to a country long since devoid of its former glory, the great Ego Stu Ikana. The ensuing battle with the king and his servants is, well, for the most part, it's easy. You just have to remember to burn his precious drapes. Whack them all enough times and they crumble, providing just enough time to shine a little light on the situation. Although, during your 1v1 with the kingly cadaver himself, he'll momentarily detach his head only to latch onto your face. Can't say I'm into that sort of thing, buddy. Now, epic battles are great, but it's the aftermath that makes Egos my favorite encounter. Upon defeat, the once proud leader comes to his senses, both literally and figuratively rid of the oppressive darkness that weighed him down. He then gives you the task of restoring light to the rest of his kingdom by ridding the nearby Temple of Evil. In the process, he teaches you the Elegy of Emptiness, a melody that grants you a soldier who has no heart, one who will not falter in the darkness. I don't even have any jokes here. This description feels straight out of the greatest fantasy to me. Facing up against the grandest of foes, using your heroism to bring light back to a long-lost kingdom, and then gaining the ability to create a statue in your image so that you may further conquer the evil lying in wait? It just doesn't get any cooler, and this not only captures another portion of what makes Ikana my favorite part of Majora, but what makes Zelda the greatest game series of all time. And with that, me, my love for the series, and my run on sentences have to go. But before the video is over, why not subscribe? That'd be just dandy. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed your stay. It takes 2 seconds and can really help me out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.